It's Christmas. You know, I wasn't always that big of a fan of Christmas. I wouldn't call myself a grouch, but for me, it was just another holiday. Christmas games. Games of association with Christmas here and there. Every game is an ice level, and around Christmas, people love to play games. Such was the case with Katamari Damacy. The PlayStation 2 classic was re-released on Nintendo Switch in 2018. Katamari Damacy was released in Japan in March of 2004, exclusively for the PlayStation 2. It was later re-released in December of 2018 for the Nintendo Switch. I'll be using the Switch version for footage, because let's face it, 480i looks bad. I love the PS2, it's one of my favorite systems, but 480p and below just doesn't hold up. I would try to explain the plot in detail, but it's better I just skim over it. The king of all cosmos was out in a drinking binge when he accidentally destroyed all the celestial bodies in the universe, except for the Earth. He accidentally destroyed all the celestial bodies in the universe. Realizing his mistake, he orders his 5-centimeter tall son, the Prince, to create new stars. Luckily, he's given a Katamari, an extremely adhesive ball that will collect anything it touches. He creates these celestial bodies by rolling up objects. These objects can be anything from flowers to people to entire islands. In Japanese, Katamari means clump and Damashi means spirit. For a Japanese kid in the mid-2000s, I suppose you might understand what this game would be about by reading its title, but how would anyone who doesn't know Japanese know what Katamari Damacy means? It's surprising the game sold so well, because what could Katamari Damacy mean? So enough about the story, let's get to making some stars. Rolling around with the Katamari feels so fluent. Nothing is quite as euphoric as collecting tons of objects at once. The crisp noise plays and the light vibration of the controller, it's a feeling that must be experienced before commenting on it. Normally you just collect as many things as you can, but there are certain levels where you can't collect certain items. If you even collect one of these objects, you lose. Once you're big enough, you can't avoid collecting the small objects. Luckily, there are only 2 of these levels, but I just never did good on them. Now let me quickly talk about Katamari Damacy Reroll. Apart from the HD graphics, this game is legitimately the exact same as the PlayStation 2 version. I remember watching the Nintendo Direct in September of 2018. I saw the trailer and said, yeah, it's pretty cool. Might get it depending on what's new. Once I found out they didn't add anything new, I said, yep, that's a no for me. I didn't pick it up until Black Friday of 2019, but still. I mean, I'm not mad, it's just, at least they could have added something. I mean, what kind of re-release doesn't add new content? This whole game is just so weird. What kind of characters are these? The king and prince are both weird, the king has a wife, and the prince's cousins all live on this planet. How is the prince only 5 centimeters tall? How is he able to push around a ball that is over 800 meters tall, probably weighing millions of tons? That question pretty much sums up the entire game. Everything is so imaginative and weird. In 2004 it would have been a completely new idea, something that no one had ever even thought of. Look at the video game market today. Although it happens from time to time, it's usually uncommon to find new games that actually try something new. Most of the time they just bank on the popularity and drawing power of a series. Even though it's 16 years old, it's nice to see a game that just put itself out there, tried something new. But we're not done, because this game has a sequel. So we're back to 480i on the PlayStation 2. The intro alone is enough to see that this game's a bigger and better version of the original. There's so much more. It's as if they dropped all restrictions. Since the first game was a hit, they no longer had to hold back with anything. The game is immediately weirder than the original. As the story goes, after the success of Katamari Damacy, the king realizes he's gained fame on Earth. He seeks to fulfill the wishes of his fans with the help of his son. Using this self-referential story works great for this game. The first level is filled to the brim with new items. The basic gameplay hasn't changed at all, and neither have the sound effects. I'm glad they didn't try to change the gameplay. They do new things, which I'll talk about in a little, but the main gameplay is exactly the same, and it works. All of the original level types are still present, including the terrible, don't collect this item levels. But there are also new level types, including one that just shows how good and ingenious this game is. Make a snowman, feed a sumo wrestler until he can beat his opponent,
Collect fireflies to light up a Katamari. Collect wood with a flaming Katamari to create a campfire. Make the most expensive Katamari of all time. Collect as many roses as possible. Roll underwater and try not to get caught by a hook. Use your Katamari as a race car. They managed to take an idea that would have felt dull after one game and somehow make it seem like an entirely new idea. Now the game still has some annoying parts. There's no autosave feature, which I suppose is excusable for the PS2, but the feature would have saved me an hour of gameplay. You'll also encounter frequent loading screens. I would get really mad at them, but I'm going to excuse them for one main reason. These worlds are so much bigger than the originals. You can genuinely get lost because of how big they are. The final level is huge. You'll go to every place you've previously been to and more. By far the coolest part of that level is that you can roll up the king and the queen. Wheel of Katamari is basically an expansion pack for the first game. It does almost everything better. Well, time to open my gift. Was this a hate crime?